Dawn Lewis here. It's day one of my stamping challenge using one hero stamp, one accessory, and one greeting 7 ways in 7 days. I'm using Lawn Fawn's Love You A Latte, coffee mug, face, and greeting of smile. Today we are making a large tag. So we're going to want to have a hole at the top to thread through a ribbon just as a topper for the tag. I'm using around about a 6 by 3 inch piece of brown basil cardstock and a stash dive. I found this beautiful old embossing powder. This is about 20 years old and it gives a beautiful coppery finish. You'll see that in a minute. What I'm going to use is some clear embossing distress ink, and I'm going to stamp the coffee mug onto the basil. Now I tend to add my embossing powder as I go, just because for me I'm a little slow and the ink can dry out before I put the powder on, and then it's not quite as crisp as it could be. So there you go. I've got a good coating of the embossing powder on there, and then I'll go ahead, tip all the excess powder back into the jar. Waste not, want not. It keeps my workspace tidy and makes sure I don't knock it and spill it everywhere. And I'm going to speed this up and we're going to stamp all over. Now what I should have done was use my anti-static powder tool before I started stamping. I had to get out the paintbrush and flick away some unwanted parts, but this has worked really well towards the end, and I've got a good covering of embossing powder all over the tag. I've just waited a second for my heat gun to heat up, about 30 seconds or so that it doesn't warp the cardstock too badly, and you can see that beautiful copper color coming through. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the powder, the anti-static powder, just wipes away. I decided to match this. It felt a little flimsy. I wanted something more substantial, and so I've just been digging in my stash, so you can see all the things that I've tried out, and I've decided on this because it's got red on it, and I like red. So you can use your tag as a guide for placing your adhesive and then just adding it on and trimming off the excess. And I've got a great little strip across the bottom. So it's time to get some embellishments. This is my cream and brown embellishment box. Everything in there is cream and brown, and I've decided on some very dark brown twine. Now rather than cut a piece and maybe it's too short or maybe it's too long, I'm just working straight off the reel using a very strong double-sided tape here to secure it at the back. Just wrapped it around a couple of times so that it sits kind of off center-ish. Hold it with the double-sided tape, which I can also use to help secure it on the tag when I'm done. And I'll add it down to the coordinations brown that I'm using and then just trim off the edge. I just cut by eye, but you can measure if you want to. The punch that I put out before serves as a good guide for punching through that second layer. And we are now ready to get onto the hero stamp in its hero form. I'm using an archival ink on some more coordinating scrap of basil. It's kind of a very pale tan, a coffee color, you might say. I am using a Love You A Latte die to cut it out, but this one is very easy to fussy cut by hand. Here is my accessory, and it's the little mustachioed face which I've added to my coffee cups. I kind of like them. I think they look like the three amigos of coffee, which is kind of fun. I decided to add my greeting of smile to the pattern paper. I don't usually do that, but I did quite enjoy it today. It did need a little mat though, just to define it there, and so I'm adding it to another piece of the coordinations. This is seriously old, people. This is a very old piece of cardstock. It's even faded on one end. It's all the way flush on the left-hand side with a very, very tiny border showing through. And I've used the mat where I stamped the coffee cups and embossed them so that I could measure it properly. And to pop it up, I'm using some fun foam. It does not matter that this is bright yellow. You're not going to see it. It's hiding behind. I am using a strong adhesive though. With fun foam, use something that's quite strong. A cheap adhesive isn't going to cut it. It's very, very smooth, and it would be easy for your adhesive to come adrift, especially in the post. So as while that was sitting up, I thought it might be a good idea to pop up the coffee cups as well. So I'm using a little magic mount on there. This is a large tag. Now with a large tag, you can add this to the front of a card. You can use it in scrapbooking. You could even put it on a gift and write on the back. I'm using 20 centimeters of ribbon. I've folded it in half and threaded it through. It has a little red through there, I don't know if you can see it, which matches the pattern paper that I've used. And then we have it, one large tag. Now here you're going to be able to see them up close if you really want to have another good look. I've got more photos over on my blog. I did promise a twist though. So here is the Get Well Soon mini set from Lawn Fawn. The point of the exercise is to show you how you can use different stamps to create the same thing, and you don't need tons of stamps to get amazing results, and stretch what you've got. Thank you so much for watching this challenge today. Please tune in tomorrow where I will be back with day 2 of 7 ways in 7 days. I'll look forward to seeing you, and bye for now.